Howdy folks, Greenside Project here, with a bit of an update video and a bit of a discussion. I could have just done a normal update video, but to be honest, this week I don't really have much to update. All the work I've done this week you can see in front of you, and for people that have seen my most recent update video, it's not that much more than I had done last week. It's been an exceptionally busy week at work for me. You can probably hear the lovely savoury sound of my cough streak rattling around in my mouth. I've got an awful throat. But it's the weekend, I wanted to put something up. And if it was an update video, it would basically be me going, painted a little bit there, and a little bit there. And that's not very interesting, so I thought I'd talk about something else. Now, what I'm going to be talking about today is something that I've read about either in Fayette212 on his website, or on Bell of Lost Souls. A couple of rumours combined, and so as rumours, you know, you've got to take them with a pinch of salt, although these are things that a couple of months ago were coming up again and again and again, so I think something's definitely happening about them. And it's two things that are interlinked. The first thing is the death of Finecast. Finecast is finishing, it's over, you know, let's all rejoice, the bubbles are ending and going away. The second thing is Forge World merging with Games Workshop's website with a total overhaul of the website that should be starting about March next year. So, the first thing, Finecast. Now, the rumour is basically that Finecast is being phased out and that by about 2016 there'll be no more Finecast, there'll be no Finecast in the Rangers. And the reason that's partly possible is because of figures like Esmeralda here, who have the sort of detail that traditionally you might expect, I'll just get into focus, of a resin or metal model, but via some very, very clever computer work, you can get in different components of plastic and assemble together. Very briefly, for those of you that don't know, plastic can be moulded very accurately. However, you can't have any pieces that have undercuts, which means you can't have any pieces that go out then in again on a mould, which is why Esmeralda here came in probably about 6, 7 or 8 pieces. You can see the first sign of this new GW policy with the new Dark Elf release that's coming out. As far as I could be able to tell, there are no new models in Finecast. All the character models, like their assassin character, whose name I can't remember, and even if I could remember it, I could probably not pronounce, let's say, for argument's sake, Dogogog, the assassin. Well, Dogogog is a plastic figure. Why do we think this is happening? Well, I think the major thing is, guys, Games Workshop aren't stupid, neither are they insanely greedy. They know the limitations of Finecast. Goodness knows, they do with their return policy. They have lost money because of Finecast, or at least they have not made as much money as they would have done had they chosen another material. I suspect Finecast was always going to be a bit of a stopgap. They know what they need to do. Now, they're limited because of their range. There are some figures that they have moulds for. It's not really practical for them to redesign and recut down, so they need to slowly go over their ranges. I'd be very surprised if I saw many more new Finecast releases, if any, and slowly as the armies get re-released, you know, you'll get your special characters in plastic. So how does this tie in? Well, with the Forge World news, well, just because Finecast's dying, resin's not. Resin still has some advantages over plastic, or in my belief it does. I think particularly if you look at things like chainmail on models and other bits of detail like hair, you still get a certain advantage with either resin or metal casting in terms of the sort of detail you can have in the mould that you simply cannot have in plastic. Now, the idea is, from the rumours, that in 2014, about March time, Games Workshop will have a new website, which is about time, isn't it? Because if you look at their website now, it's very much sort of mid-2000s in the way the menus work and things. What's really good about the website at the moment is the 360 degree model picks. Those are absolutely excellent. But the site's getting a redesign, and Forge World products are going to be integrated onto the site. This hasn't happened before, and if you went onto Games Workshop site, with the exception of a few of the White Dwarf articles on there, you wouldn't really know that Forge World existed. Now, I'm not too involved in my local game group, but I know enough to know that probably 80 to 90% of the people there know about Forge World, but probably only 10 to 20% of people would either order from there or be prepared to order, either because of price, which, you know, is fair enough. Forge World's not the cheapest thing in the world, or because of perceived accessibility of the items. Now, you know, I'm someone with a job, I'm someone with hobby time, well, in theory hobby time, I can buy tools and things to work with metals, to work with resins, you know, I can afford that investment and that time to learn skills to work properly with things like resin in terms of maybe, you know, heating it up, repositioning it in hot water, that sort of thing. Your average 13-year-old, 10-year-old entry point in the hobby, they're not going to want that. They're just going to want the Games Workshop products, which, as we know, as of 2016, will be plastic. You know, you only need one glue, you need your plastic glue, you only need one craft knife to tidy up around the mould lines. Happy times. But by integrating Forge World products into Games Workshop, what I assume they're thinking is they'll be able to have the best of both worlds. Games Workshop will be doing plastics, which are reliable and consistent, with the possible exception of when you get the mould lines. But that's not really a deal breaker for most people with Games Workshop plastics. But they'll still be able to sell the sort of exclusive, very high-end, extremely high-end products that Forge World do, as an alternative to selling what were the character models in Finecast. And I think that's probably what they're going for. So, I mean, it makes sense. Forge World will reach more people, whether or not their sort of business model, because at the moment, as I'm aware, as I've tried to figure out anyway, Forge World work on the basis that they are an offshoot of Games Workshop, but they're sort of almost intended to be profit neutral. They're not supposed to be driving profits forward. When they make decisions on products, they do it almost certainly on what they think will be cool to make, which is why you get some very obscure things they make. Now, recently they've started to make some serious money via the Horus Heresy, and I think, from what I've heard and from using just sort of logical thought, that's probably made Games Workshop sit up and take notice of it, about the possibilities of integrating them further. There is a chance that Forge World will not have this luxury when Games Workshop starts to think of them more as a cash cow and less of just sort of an offshoot for very committed modelers. We'll have to see about that one. But, you know, it's coming. The benefits to us are probably reduced postage, maybe, and I don't know this for sure, but maybe we'll be able to order GW and Forge World products at the same time from the same source, so we don't have to think about Forge World pricing. Certainly I'm thinking about people like me who are UK customers. I imagine we'll see more Forge World items in in White Dwarf, and integrated into things like battle reports. And hopefully, I'd imagine that will finish the sort of slight wariness that some tournaments have about including Forge World rules and Forge World models in the games. We'll have to see. But it's something interesting to think about. It'll be interesting to see if it happens. My hunch is that it will. And so, yeah, that's my video for this week, guys. So take care. Hope you're well. I swear that in my next video I'm not going to be munching on a cough sweet. Well, I hope so anyway. Love you all. Bye.